Introduction to Japanese eels. Japanese eels, Anguilla japonica, are a species of freshwater eels native to East Asia. They have a unique life cycle that involves migrating between freshwater rivers and the ocean. Here are some key points about Japanese eels. Glass eels. The eel life cycle begins with glass eels, which are transparent, small eels that migrate from the ocean to freshwater rivers and streams. These glass eels are essential for the eel farming. Challenges in eel farming. Natural glass eel catches have decreased significantly in recent years due to environmental changes and overfishing. As a result, researchers and farmers have focused on full-cycle aquaculture to sustain eel populations. 1. Eel farming process. 1. Identifying suitable water sources. Eels require specific water conditions to thrive. Eel aquaculture began in Asia in 1879 in Tokyo with the raising of elvers, while Taiwan Province of China and the Republic of Korea initiated eel culture in 1968 and the People's Republic of China in 1975. The eel farmers of China are major producers, many of the farms being found in Guangdong Province. A large proportion is exported live or as caviar to Japan. With an annual demand of 130,000 tons, Japan constitutes the most important eel market in the world. Its own production, mainly from aquaculture, however, is insufficient to cover demand. The difference is mainly imported from China, Taiwan Province of China, the Republic of Korea and Malaysia. During the last 4 decades, however, the quantity of Japanese glass eels caught in Asia has fallen considerably. With the relatively abundant supplies of European glass eels, Anguilla, see separate FAO fact sheet for this species, and cheap prices compared to those for Japanese species, 70% of the eel farms in the People's Republic of China began to rear them at the end of the 1990s. While the catch of glass eels in Japan in 1965 amounted to 140 tons, it had fallen below 40 tons by 2000. The principal restriction on the volume of eel culture in Japan is the availability of fry. Scientists are attempting to overcome this problem by breeding eels in captivity, but so far little or no success has been achieved. Young Japanese eels enter rivers in small shoals from February to May, and ascend to the upper reaches of rivers and mountain lakes. After several years in freshwater and with the onset of sexual maturity, the eels migrate downstream and enter the sea from August to October. However, some Japanese eels have never entered freshwater, sea eels. In fact, 3 different categories of eels are found, each with a different migratory history: river eels, estuarine eels and sea eels. Anguilla japonica has a flexible pattern of migration, with an ability to adapt to various habitats and salinities. Anguillid eel migrations into freshwater are clearly not an obligatory migratory pathway, and this form of diatomy should be defined as facultative catatomy, with the sea eel as one of several ecophenotypes. Adults feed on benthic crustaceans, bony fish and insects. Japanese eels have very similar migratory and recruitment styles to European eels. The spawning of A. japonica occurs near some of the seamounts in the West Mariana Ridge. The Japanese eel is found widely around Japan and China. The northern limits are the island of Hokkaido, the coast of the Bohai Sea and the Liaoho River. The southern limits are the island of Hainan and the Gulf of Tonkin. The distribution extends towards the Benin Islands. The production of eels is based on wild catches of glass eels, elvers, that are used for further on growing. Glass eels and elvers are best cultured in indoor tanks before being moved into grow-out facilities. Grow route of elvers to market size can be achieved in either tank systems or earthen ponds. Glass eels are captured around the shores of China, Taiwan province of China, the Republic of Korea and Malaysia, and are either used nationally or exported to eel farmers in other countries. At first, the glass eels, approximately 0.2 grams each, are kept in smaller tanks of 80 to 100 cubic meters for quarantine purposes. The density at this stage is 0.3 to 0.5 kilograms per cubic meter. Water temperature is kept stable at 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. The eels are examined for diseases and, following diagnosis, treated. They are also weaned onto artificial diets with bloodworm and, later on, dry starter feed. When the eels reach approximately 5 grams, they are transferred to a juvenile production unit with larger tanks, 300 to 600 cubic meters, at stocking densities of 0.8 to 1.0 kilograms per square meter. At this point, the eels can digest dry feed pellets, 1 millimeter. The traditional form of eel culture in the People's Republic of China is in earthen ponds, which should be constructed on non-porous soil. It is possible to line ponds so that they do not leak. However, the costs of construction are higher. Ponds range in size from 3,000 to 5,000 square meters, and are 1 to 1.5 to 2.0 meters deep. When eels reach marketable size, they are transferred to larger ponds, 5,000 to 10,000 meters too. The ponds may be static or flow through. The best temperature range in ponds is 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Individual growth rates vary substantially. Grading every 5 weeks is necessary in order to reach a high overall growth performance. These systems consist of square or circular tanks from 100 to 300 square meters, usually built of cement. The eels are stocked at a size of 50 grams. Densities reach up to 1 to 5 kilograms per square meter. Extruded dry feed, 1.5 to 3 millimeters, is fed several times a day. Grading every 6 to 7 weeks is necessary. Eel feeds are high carbohydrate, about 22%, and have a high fish meal content, 65 to 70%, and crude protein level of 50%. Besides fish meal, other common ingredients are yeast, wheat, soybean meal, starch, corn, decalcium phosphate, vegetable or animal fat, and trace mineral and vitamin premixes. Most eels, approximately 95% or more, are fed powdered feeds, and are fed 2 to 3 times daily. As the powdered feeds are dry, water and fish oil are added to the mixture and the mixture is passed through a milling machine on farm. In the People's Republic of China there are more than 100 feeds mills that produce a total of 350,000 tons of eel feed. Harvesting technique. Eels are harvested at a weight varying from 150 grams to several kilograms, depending on the target market. Feeding is stopped a minimum of 1 to 2 days before harvesting.
放了一个帽子，代表这个地方。
Harvesting can be carried out by draining the pond, using a seine net or, at feeding time, using a scoop net. The eels are then sorted into different sizes using a grading system. Eels that have not reached market size are returned to the rearing tanks for further on-growing. After harvesting, eels are rapidly sorted into different sizes, using grading systems. The eels are then placed in holding tanks for several days without feed to purge their stomachs. They are chilled and then packed into strong plastic bags with just enough water to ensure that their skin remains moist. The bags are then filled with oxygen and transported to the market. If they are destined for processing, they are transported live to the processing plant. Production costs. In some cases, antibiotics and other pharmaceuticals have been used in treatment, but their inclusion in this table does not imply an FAO recommendation. China is by far the largest producer of farmed Japanese eels, e.g. 73% of global production in 2003, but Taiwan province of China and Japan are also major producers. The other countries declaring farmed production to FAO of this species are the Republic of Korea and Malaysia. An important food fish in China and Japan, it is the most expensive food fish in Japan. Japanese eels have been introduced elsewhere, Cambodia, Thailand, Brazil. Utilized fresh, smoked, canned and frozen, but no production has yet been reported to FAO. Eels are eaten steamed, broiled, and smoked. The major eel-consuming countries are Japan, the Republic of Korea, China, other Southeast Asian countries, the EU, USA and Canada. The major eel products are smoked eels, fresh eels and frozen eels, of which smoked eels account for 98%. Japan is the largest consumer of eel products in the world. For example, this country reported that 60,000 tons of canned eels were imported in 2002, whereas the People's Republic of China reported canned eel exports of nearly 67,000 tons and Taiwan province of China nearly 5,700 tons. The annual fresh eel consumption of the Republic of Korea is 10,000 to 13,000 tons, mainly originating from the People's Republic of China and Taiwan province of China. At present, the Japanese market is nearly saturated, but potential for expansion remains in other markets such as the Republic of Korea, Europe, etc. Status and trends. There have been some developments in the techniques used in Japanese eel culture, even though this species has been farmed for many years. The progress has mainly been in developing preventative and control measures for some significant diseases. There is a shortage of elvers and considerable resistance to their extraction from the wild for farming purposes. This is an instructable on how to fillet a salmon that is fresh caught out of the river. Keep in mind that these salmon were caught less than 2 hours before we cleaned them. Also, we leave the skin so it can be grilled, but they are scaled. Also, this instructable will show you how to recover the roe, eggs, and milk, sperm sacs, of the fish. A way to tell if you have a male or a female fish before cutting it open is by looking at the head of the fish. Males have a more pointed jaw and females are more rounded. The top fish in the first photo is a male and the other 3 are female. Sometimes it is hard to tell because fish can be in different stages of changing as well as different sizes. A smaller male fish might look like a female if its jaw has not yet extended. A fillet knife. If you have 2, we use one to scale the fish and one to fillet it. A fresh salmon, this technique could be used to fillet other fish, but we have not caught any on which to try it. A fish cleaning station, this may be provided where you fish, or you may have to go home to clean them. Make sure your space is large enough for the fish. A fish cleaning mat, this is optional, but it helps keep the fish from sliding around when cleaning it. The anal fins are a pair of fins located near the rear of the fish. To remove these fins, place your knife behind the anal fins, make a small cut down and run the knife parallel to the fins. Once these fins are removed, dispose of them properly. Once the fins are removed, scale the fish. As you can see, we did not do this on this fish, and it made it a lot harder to scale. To scale the fish, you need to place a dull fillet knife, or a sharp one if you do not have more than one, near the tail of the fish and run it down the skin toward the head. Do this repeatedly, and with a fast repeated motion, to completely scale the fish. Make sure that you scale both sides of the fish. You do not have to scale the fish, but salmon scales come off easily. It makes it difficult to clean the fillets and cook them if the scales are still on them. The picture shown is the roe of the fish. This will just pull right out with a little tug. The roe is in a membrane that is tough enough to just pull out, and the milt is a firm jelly-like substance that will also take some tugging to remove. Once you have removed the roe, or milt, from the fish, you can proceed to remove the rest of the guts with your hand, so they won't get in the way when you fillet the fish. Dispose of guts properly. Now that you have gutted the fish, place your knife behind the front fin and cut down until you hit the backbone. Once you hit the backbone, place your knife horizontal and run the knife along the backbone horizontally down to the tail, cutting through the ribs. Do this on both sides to get both fillets off. Once you have your fillets cut, you have to go back in and remove the ribs. To do this, place your knife next to the ribs and run the knife down to the edge of the fillet slowly. Make sure not to cut straight down, or you will lose a lot of the fillet. Instead, run the knife parallel to the meat of the fish. This will remove the ribs with minimal loss of meat. Dispose of ribs properly. After you remove the ribs, there will still be pin bones remaining in the fillets. You can remove these with tweezers, needle nose pliers or hemostats before cooking, or you can pick them out of the fish as you eat it. Removal of the pin bones is easier after the fillets firm up in the refrigerator. Many people prefer to remove all of the bones before any cooking or preparation. Our family does. Salmon is an excellent source of protein and other nutrients. Plus, you can incorporate it into many types of meals. Some people may feel intimidated by cooking salmon. However, there are many ways you can cook this delicious fish to fit your abilities and preferences. Here's an overview of the most popular methods of cooking salmon, salmon's nutritional information, and safety tips. These fatty acids are thought to contribute to many health benefits, such as reducing the risk of heart disease and certain cancers. 2. Trusted source. Salmon is also a great source of lean protein. Getting enough protein in your diet is necessary for maintaining muscle mass and supporting other important functions. gluten-free trusted source. Finally, salmon provides vitamin D, a fat-soluble nutrient that isn't found in many foods. You need vitamin D to maintain healthy bones and proper immune system function. 4. Trusted source. Salmon is rich in heart-healthy fats, lean protein, and micronutrients such as vitamin D. If you're preparing salmon at home, you can use any of the methods below. Salmon is also available pre-cooked, such as canned or smoked salmon. How to fry salmon in a pan. This cooking method is usually referred to as pan frying or searing. It's a healthier option than deep frying and still produces a crispy exterior. Pat salmon fillets dry. Season with salt and pepper or other desired seasonings. Heat oil or butter in a skillet over medium heat. For best results, use a non-stick skillet and enough butter or oil to coat the pan. Once the pan is hot, add salmon fillets skin side up. Cook for 4 to 6 minutes. Flip fillets and cook skin side down for another 3 to 5 minutes. Cooking salmon in a pan is one of the easiest methods of preparation and does not require much time. However, it can be messy. Consider using a splatter guard to limit grease splatter. It's also important to use a cooking fat that's stable at high temperatures. Extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil are good options. Some people find that pan-seared salmon does not cook evenly, depending on the shape and size of the fillets. For this reason, you may prefer to start salmon in a pan and then finish cooking it in the oven. To do this, use a cast iron or other oven-safe skillet and follow steps 1 to 3 above. After step 3, transfer the skillet to an oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius, and bake for 6 to 8 more minutes. How to roast salmon in the oven. Instead of pan frying salmon before finishing it in the oven, you can cook it completely in the oven. To roast salmon, follow these steps. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius. Pat salmon fillets dry. Brush with oil and season with salt and black pepper or other desired seasonings. Place salmon skin side down in an oiled baking dish or on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and brushed with oil. Bake for 12 to 15 minutes. Baking salmon in the oven is healthy, fast, and easy to clean up. However, this method won't produce fillets with a crispy exterior like you would get with pan frying.